Chapter 16 is called The Conti's Envelope. We showed him all right, Hornet said, once they were all safely back at the hideout. She had a deep scratch on her cheek and her cardigan was missing 2 buttons, but she was grinning from ear to ear. And look what I got in all that commotion. Proudly, she produced Victor's wallet from underneath her jacket. She flung it over to Prosper. Don't get angry with me. Perhaps now you can find out more about this guy, Prosper murmured. Thanks, and without hesitation, quickly went through the wallet's various compartments. There were a few bills from some shop in San Paulo, a receipt from a supermarket, and a ticket to the Doge's Palace. He threw all this carelessly onto the ground. Then he held Victor's detective ID in his hands. He stared at it grimly. Hornet looked over his shoulder. So, he really is a detective, she said. Prosper nodded. He looked so desperate that she didn't know where to look. Come on, just forget about him, she said, quietly. She slowly stretched out her hand and stroked Prosper's face. He didn't even seem to notice. He only looked up when Scipio approached them. What are you looking at so gloomily? The thief lord said, putting his arm around Prosper's shoulder. We gave him the slip. Don't you want to see what's in the Conti's envelope? Prosper nodded and stuffed Victor's wallet into his pocket. Scipio opened the envelope with a great ceremony. He slit it open with his pocket knife, while the others, sitting on the folding seats in front of him, watched with rapt anticipation. By the way, where's the pigeon, Mosca? Scipio asked as he pulled a photograph and a folded sheet of paper from the envelope. Still sitting in the basket, I threw it some breadcrumbs, Mosca answered. And now let's get on with it. What's that piece of paper? Scipio smiled. He dropped the empty envelope on the ground and unfolded the large sheet of paper. The house he wants me to pay a little visit to is in the Campo Santa Margarita, he said, and this is the floor plan. Does anyone want to see it? Oh, just give it to me, Hornet said impatiently. Scipio handed her the plan. Hornet took a quick look and then passed it on to Mosca. Scipio, meanwhile, studied the photograph that had also been in the envelope. He seemed confused, as if he couldn't quite work out what he was looking at. What is it? The suspense made Ricio jump up out of his seat. Go on, Scipio. Looks like a wing, Scipio mumbled. Oh, what do you think it is? The photograph went from one child to the other, and all of them looked at it in just as much bewilderment as Scipio. Yes, it's a wing, Prosper agreed after having studied it from all possible angles, and it seems to be made of wood, just as the Conti said. Scipio took a picture from his hands and stared at it. 5 million lire for a broken wooden wing? Mosca shook his head incredulously. How much? The question came simultaneously from Hornet and Ricio. That's quite a lot, isn't it? Bo asked. Prosper nodded. Take another look at the envelope, he said. Maybe there's something else in there to explain all this. Scipio nodded and picked up the envelope. He peered inside, and then took out a small card, closely written on both sides. The wing, shown on the enclosed photograph, Scipio read, is the counterpart to the wing I am looking for. They look identical. Both are about 70 inches long and 30 inches wide. The wood was once painted white, but this will certainly have faded, and the gold on the edges of the feathers has probably also flaked off the second wing. At the base of the wing, there should be 2 long metal pins, each approximately 2 inches in diameter. Scipio lifted his head. His face showed disappointment. He had obviously not expected the item he was supposed to steal, which had made the old man's voice quiver with longing, would be a piece of old wood. Perhaps the Conti has one of these beautiful carved angels, Hornet ventured. You know, like they have in the big churches. An angel like that is probably quite valuable, but only if it has both of its wings, and he has probably somehow lost one of them. I don't know. Mosca shook his head. He went over to Scipio to have another look at the picture. What's that in the background, she asked. It's very blurry, but it looks like a wooden horse. Scipio turned the card over and frowned. Wait, there's more. Listen. The living quarters of the Casa Spavento, as far as I have been informed, are mostly on the first floor. The wing is probably kept there somewhere. I have had no information about any alarm systems, but it is possible that there are dogs in the house. Hurry, my friend. I will await your report with great impatience. Feed the pigeon bread and let it fly a little. Sophia is a friendly and very dependable creature. Sophia, I like that name, said Bo, peeking into the pigeon's basket. Yes, but you must keep your cats away from her, Mosca teased him. They'll eat her whether she's got a nice name or not. Bo looked shocked. A wooden angel. Ricio wrinkled his nose and pushed a finger into his mouth. He often had a toothache, but today it was particularly bad. Not even a whole angel, just a wing. And that's supposed to be worth 5 million lire? Hornet leaned against the starry curtain and shrugged. I don't like it, she said. All the secrecy. And the Redbeard being part of it. No, Barbarossa is just the middleman. Scipio was staring at the photograph. You should have heard the Conti. He's completely crazy about this wing. It didn't sound as if this was only about money he could get for a valuable statue. No, there's something else behind this. Do you still have that jacket, Prop? Prosper threw the jacket over him. Scipio slipped into the long sleeves and sighed. Here, you'd better keep this safe. It's probably the best in our money box, he said, handing Hornet the photograph and the card and the floor plan. I've got to go. I'll be out of the city for 3 days. Until I return, you will observe the house. We have to know everything. Who comes and goes, the habits of the people living there, how many visitors, when the house is empty, the best way to get in, and whether there are really any dogs there. You know, the usual stuff. Check whether the doors are marked in the right places on the floor plan. The house is supposed to have a garden, which also may be useful. Oh, and Prosper. Scipio turned to him once more. You and Bo had better not leave the hideout in the next few days. We've shaken off the detective for now, but you never know. Scipio pulled the mask back over his face. As Scipio turned to leave, Ricio stood in his way. Listen, can we help you with this job? I mean, not just with the staking out, but with the burglary itself? Can you take us with you just this once? Ricio stuttered with excitement. We could keep watch and we could help you carry the loot. The wing is probably pretty heavy. It's not like a gold chain or a pair of sugar tongs, which you can just stuff into your bag, is it? What do you say? Scipio listened to him impassively, his voice hidden by the mask. Ricio had finished and was looking at him apprehensively, but Scipio was quiet, thinking when he shrugged and said, Fine. Ricio was so stunned that he just looked at Scipio open-mouthed. Yes, why not? Scipio continued. Let's do this burglary together. Of course, only those who really want to. He looked at Prosper, who remained silent. I want to do it, Bo cried, jumping excitedly around Scipio. I'm really small. I can squeeze into little holes and... Stop it, Bo. Prosper's voice sounded so harsh that Bo spun around looking terrified. I won't take part, Prosper answered. I can't do it, and I have to look after Bo. You understand that, don't you? Scipio nodded. Of course, he said, but he sounded disappointed. And about that detective, Prosper said nervously, I found my aunt's card in his wallet. That proves that he was after Bo and me. And Ricio was right about his name. He's called Victor Getz, and he lives in San Paulo. No, he lives in the Grand Canal, Bo said, casting a rather dark look at his brother's face. And I will go and steal the wing. It's not fair. You're not Mom. Come on, Bo. Hornet placed her hands on his shoulders. Prosper's right. A burglary is a dangerous thing. I'm not sure whether I will take part myself yet, but what makes you think the detective lives on the Grand Canal? He told me. Go away. Bo pushed her hands away and swallowed really hard, trying not to start to cry. You're all horrible, really, really horrible. Even when Mosca tried to tickle him to make him laugh, Bo pinched his hand hard. Hey, now listen. Prosper looked stern, kneeled down in front of his brother, and turned Bo toward him. You two seem to have talked a lot. Did you tell the detective anything else? About our hideout, for example? Bo bit his lip. No, he grumbled without looking at Prosper. I didn't. Prosper smiled with relief. Oh, come on, Bo, Hornet said, pulling him away. Help me with the pasta. I'm hungry. Bo trailed off after her with a gloomy face, stopping first to stick his tongue out at the others.